Good morning, and thanks for listening to Behind the Scenes at the Hanover Theater. This is Lisa Condit, and I'm excited to be here with John Odell from the City of Worcester and Nel Lazour, our Director of Development. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you.
Nice to be here.
Absolutely. And we're here to talk about the first in our series, the Access Hanover Lyceum series for the new season. And that's a program that Nell has really taken under her wing and really developed into a great series of forums and events for discussion on topics that are really newsworthy, not just for the city of Worcester, but for the whole area. And John is with the City of Worcester. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
Sure. I'm the energy and asset manager for the city. And basically my job is two functions. One is to encourage energy efficiency across the board throughout all the city environment directly, the municipal environment, and also to manage 5 buildings here in the city to actually implement this stuff directly. I'm also work very closely with the planning office in terms of implementing energy efficiency on a larger scale for city residents and in time for city businesses as well.
Ah, that's great and very timely, right?
Indeed. It's always a good time to be efficient.
Always. And the name of the first Access Hanover Lyceum Series event is Building a Sustainable Worcester, and we are doing this event on Tuesday, September 24th. Now, do you want to tell people a little bit about this as one of the membership benefits?
Sure. First of all, I'd like to say that we decided to put this together because last year our series featured Building the New Worcester and the Hanover Goes Solar. So it was an attempt to kind of marry those two kind of popular forums where we had panelists come and talk about the revitalization of the city, and then also to talk about the fact that the Hanover Theater has gone solar with a farm out in Leicester, and so we provide a lot of solar energy that way and we're probably about 80% energy efficient through our solar farm. So it was a nice way to combine the two because there's so many interesting things that are going on in the city. And so we have a panel that has been set up to talk about those sustainable projects. The Lyceum series, as you said, is free to our members. And the partners that we work with to put these events together. So we're thrilled about it. Every year they seem to be more and more popular, and I think those people that come leave with a lot of very useful and interesting information.
Absolutely, and it's important to mention that this event is generously sponsored by Prism Energy Services. So thank you to our sponsor. We appreciate your support, and I love the fact that this series really feeds off of some of our branding and messaging since before we even opened our doors, Experience the New Worcester, because that's really a big movement that is taken foot and has exploded, and everybody is feeling it. It's important, however, for the sustainability. So, John, that's where you come in. You and Nell have talked a little bit about what this panel is going to be like. Do you want to share that with our listeners?
Sure. So what Nell has put together and has asked me to be a work with her on finding people that sort of fit in some of the major niches here in Worcester that sort of can talk about, for example, the REC, the Regional Environmental Council, can talk about community gardens and the outreach they do to communities in their areas that can take advantage of energy efficiency for their homes, for example. We also have a representative from the hospital, with UMass Medical, that talks about both the hospital side of the equation, but also the school side of the equation. Worcester, as you know, the predominant economic drivers for the city are the hospitals and medical, and of course colleges are the other side, and of course UMass Medical covers both of them. So that's I think a very good person to have in the mix. We also have from WPI someone who can talk about some of the great things they're doing over there, some of the partnerships that they're developing with the city and with other colleges and with National Grid. And good segue there. We have someone from National Grid who can talk about some of the things that they're doing, particularly about their Smart Grid program, which I know has been just recently renamed, but everyone knows Smart Grid, so I'm going to stick with that for this anyway, I'm sure. Ed White will correct me later. And then, of course, what the city itself is doing. We have some programs through our Worcester Energy program, as well as some programs that we're doing in-house, but that will affect the larger community. So we think we got a nice mix of folks that can talk about what's going on here, both what has happened, some of the successes, and some of the failures that have happened so far, what we're doing now, and hopefully to project a little bit into the future of what we hope to do.
Oh, that's great. And so with the City of Worcester, you were mentioning that this is a fairly new role for you.
That's right. I've been with the city for about 3 years, and my prior role was predominantly focused on just energy procurement for the city, municipal government proper, as well as reaching out to residential customers through our Worcester Energy program. What has evolved since then is that we really recognize that you got to practice what you preach. And so we're going to take my role is sort of expanded on the municipal side of the equation. So I'm going to have some increasing the amount of energy and efficiency related responsibility, not just for the city in a general sense, which is true, that has expanded as well, but also very specifically for 5 facilities in the city. Some of our major facilities like City Hall and the library, Union Station, the Senior Center, and Inspectional Services buildings, to focus on those buildings to see if we can really make them as efficient and sustainable as possible, and then use that as a catalyst to expand that across the city.
Oh, that's great. But now you were also saying the city has been working on this for a long time. It's not
That's
a
right.
new concept.
That's right. That's a very good point, and thank you for saying so. We've actually, this has been going on for a while. We've had some stuff that's been going on for decades long. I was speaking with Nel earlier about some of our recycling programs that we do across the city. But in-house, what really was the catalyst for this is a performance contract that we have through what's called an ESCO. And it's a large-scale project, about $30 million project, where we're actually really investing in our facilities, school and municipal buildings alike, to make them more energy efficient. And in so doing, the goal is to make it better for kids to learn, the environment for workers to work in, for lowering the tax burden on the taxpayers for paying these energy bills. I mean, we're very cognizant of who's paying the bills here. And so this has been the catalyst for doing what we want to do internally. And it also ties in directly with what we want to do and help foster externally, which mirrors very much with what those other institutions I mentioned are also looking to see how they can affect the community as well as in-house. And so we just thought that this would be a great way to start a collaboration on a larger scale.
Oh, that's great. So, Nell and John, if you had to boil it down to maybe the top 3 types of things that people are going to leave this event, just thinking about or knowing, and I know that's probably a tough question just throwing it at you, but what would you think they'd be?
Well, I think part of Worcester's problem, I don't want to say it's too big of a problem,
Challenge.
I think it's gotten better. Challenge is that we don't often talk about all the great things that are happening, and there are lots of people that live in Worcester that are not familiar with what is going on some of our college campuses. We actually, Linda Luft, who's going to be moderating it, who is from WPI, I believe is in China right now, and they're presenting. They were one of the schools that were asked to present at a kind of a global environmental forum. I don't know exactly what it was called. They have a solar house that was built right on their campus. So there's some really exciting things happening on campus that I hope she will share with us. And I know she'll share with us. And then other things that on a day-to-day basis, many residents or even people that come to the theater that might be interested are not familiar with what the future is going to be. I think we had talked a little bit about the smart grid. And that was interesting because I had no idea what that was about. So maybe you can share with us a little bit what that's about.
What is the smart grid? Because honestly, it doesn't mean a lot to me.
Sure. And Ed White from National Grid can speak to this in far more depth than I can. But I can give you the broad overview, is that essentially what the smart grid does is 2 main things. One, by changing out your existing dumb meter, and it's literally, that's what the industry calls them. They're dumb meters. All they do is just record the amount of electricity that flows through them. They don't do anything else. But with a smart meter, is what they can do now is that if there's an outage, for example, they can identify where the outage is almost immediately. And up until now, if you didn't call the electric company that there was an outage, they didn't know you had one. Now, with the smart meter system, what will able to happen is that they will be able to track all the way to the last meter that says that there's no power to it, and identify exactly where the problem is. Send the crews right there. Get response time goes way up, repair time goes way down, and incidents where you have long time power outages for easily fixed problems go way down as well. So this is a reliability issue that's a big plus.
You know, I'm so glad you explained that because, and Nell, I'm glad that you mentioned all the positive things that we don't even realize are happening, not just in Worcester, but in this area. And John, you were describing changes that we all take for granted. You know what I mean? I don't know that many residents even think back a few years ago when if your electricity went out, it could be forever until the electric company even knows, but now they know automatically.
Now they know automatically. Now,
Yeah.
just to be, full disclosure, that if we have a massive, like that ice storm like we had a little while back, and the entire community or large swaths of the communities are damaged, I mean, it's going to take a while to put the power back on.
Of course.
Smart grid doesn't solve that problem. But if you have a more isolated issue, it's a huge benefit. And as anyone knows who's gone through a power outage, and you're just kind of waiting, you figure your neighbor called or someone else called. Well, sometimes that doesn't happen, and an outage that might have been fixed in an hour ends up lasting 4 or 5 hours. This will alleviate that problem rather dramatically.
Which just goes to show that the technology that's available to us all across multiple industry segments is truly helpful and amazing. And, look at that. We have somebody from WPI that is a global leader in a solar building. And, we take it so much for granted. We don't even acknowledge that we are truly in a world-class city, and we have world-class education as well as energy efficiency as well as entertainment. That's amazing, and I'm glad that we have this opportunity to get that good word out, because I find that one of the most challenging things is that we're all doing so many things, and a lot of them are really great, but if people don't know about them, who knows? It's like, is the tree fallen and what's happening in the forest? So that's really helpful. Now, who do you think is going to be most interested in attending?
Well, we're really, it's kind of a broad group of people. We're hoping the college community will be there. Every college, and now I think every large company has a sustainability committee, or even someone that they've actually hired to be the sustainability manager. So we're really looking for the colleges, large companies, companies that really care about sustainability, and the average. We're making it somewhat broad because we have Steve Fisher with the
Regional Environmental Council.
Right. It will be there as well to talk about real basic things like community gardening, and how can you as an individual help on a day-to-day basis. So it's a pretty broad group of people that should be there.
There's something for everyone here at the theater and with the Access Hanover Lyceum Series event. I really appreciate your time. Is there anything else you want to talk about just to make sure that we're aware? Anything that the city is also working on that ties into this topic?
Well, I'll mention two things real briefly. One, just to finish up on the smart grid piece. The smart grid, as much as it is about the reliability, it's also important to know that this can actually save people money as well, and that's an important thing just to note as people think about this. And also that there are a lot of opportunities now through what the city is offering, what the utilities are offering, and what the community groups like REC and like the colleges are working with REC and the city to get the word out on energy efficiency and sustainability products and services that already exist, that a lot of folks aren't aware of, that exist for your home, for your business, and for everything in between. So this is an opportunity not just to learn personally of what you can do for maybe your house, but also how you can help your business or your church or whatever else you're involved with. It's the kind of thing that we hope kind of spreads the word that there are real opportunities to talk about sustainability in a broad sense here, and how we plan for the future here in Worcester. I anticipate we're going to get a lot of very good questions as well from the audience, which will be a great opportunity for the city to understand and how to move forward, how we're going to move forward.
Oh, that's great. So this is truly an integrated topic. So whether you are working for a corporation, maybe a nonprofit organization, a college, or you're a concerned citizen, activist, really, it sounds like somebody or everybody will be able to get something out of this program, and that's really fun, as a matter of fact, and exciting. And so we've taken a topic and really added some really good panelists and a great moderator so that everybody can get something out of that. More information is available on our website, and if you're not a member, consider joining so that you can go for free to all of our Access Hanover Lyceum series. If not, very reasonable cost of just $10 per Access Hanover Lyceum series event. If you are a member or part of our partnership with this event, then you probably have an added discount. Go to our website, thehanovertheater.org, for more information there. And so thank you, Nell. Thank you, John. I appreciate your time. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.